So you're ready to start programming with JavaScript. But before you can begin developing projects with JavaScript, you need to set up software called VS or Visual Studio Code. VS Code is a code editor that developers use to write their JavaScript code. By the end of this video, you'll be able to install VS Code, Node.js, and the Code Runner extension on your Windows operating system. Start a new JavaScript file in VS Code and run the file using Code Runner extension, and explain what console.log does in JavaScript. Let's begin by exploring the VS Code download and installation process. First, I open a search engine in my browser and search for the term VS Code or Visual Studio Code. I click on the first link, which directs me to the official website at code.visualstudio.com. This link redirects me to the site's homepage. On this homepage, I select the Download for Windows button. A message appears on the VS Code website which states, "Thanks for downloading VS Code for Windows." I can then track my download progress in my browser. Once the file is downloaded, I click the file to begin the installation process. The license agreement appears. I read through the agreement and select Next. I then accept the default installation destination and the Start menu folder. I also select the following additional tasks: create a desktop icon, add Open with Code action to Windows Explorer file context menu, add Open with Code action to Windows Explorer directory context menu. Once I've selected these additional tasks, I click Next. Now that I have configured these tasks, I select the Install button. Once installed, I then check Launch Visual Studio Code and select Finish. My Visual Studio Code program then appears in a new window on the Get Started page. From here, I click the bottommost icon on the very left of the VS Code window to open the Extensions panel. Once in the panel, I type Code Runner to search for the Code Runner extension. I then select and install this extension from the search results. While the extension installs, I return to my browser and search for Node.js. I access the file from the official site at nodejs.org and click on the direct download link, making sure to install the Windows version. A pop-up appears on screen to track progress of the download. Once the file has downloaded, I select Open File to open the Node.js setup wizard. I then select Next and accept the license agreement. I then click Install to begin the installation process. Once the installation process has completed, I click the Finish button to close the setup wizard. I then return to VS Code, where the Code Runner installation process is complete. To confirm that Code Runner is installed, I can check for the following message on screen, which states, "This extension is enabled globally." Just to the right of the Code Runner tab is a stripe for the files. I double-click this to open a new file. I then click Select Language and choose JavaScript from the list of languages. I can also type JS in the search bar to narrow my results. Next, I close the Code Runner tab and click on the Extensions icon to toggle off the extension sidebar. I then click on the View tab and select the Terminal option to open the terminal that I closed earlier. I need to clear the terminal. I can do this by typing Clear and pressing the Enter key. Next, I hover over the terminal's Output tab. I then click, hold, and drag it to the right in order to dock it on the right-hand side of the VS Code window. Now, I close the terminal again. The output should remain on the right-hand side of the screen. I can also adjust the width of the output by dragging the split to the left or right. Finally, I type some code into the tab Untitled 1 as follows: console.log, followed by a pair of parentheses in which I type Hello World in single quotes. To run this code, I click the play icon. I can also use the shortcut keys Ctrl-Alt-N. The words "Hello World" appear in my output. Other information also appears, but "Hello World" is all I need to focus on for now. And that's it. I've successfully set up VS Code with Code Runner. You now know how to install Visual Studio or VS Code, Node.js, and the Code Runner extension on your Windows operating system. You can also start a new JavaScript file in VS Code and run the file using Code Runner extension. And you can explain what console.log does in JavaScript. Great work!